This episode of the Closeout Bodyboarding Podcast is proudly presented to you by Bodyboarding Victoria and Limited Edition Fins. Shane, I've always wanted to know, what's the big difference between the original Limited Edition fins and the new Psylocke fins?
Benny, the Psylocke fins are bigger and wider than the original LE foot pockets. So basically when you try them on, they'll actually be a size up. Psylocke's fit really well in half sizes to the original fins. So I used to not be able to fit into the larges in the original LE fins, but I fit perfectly into the Psylocke large. So I just recommend everyone, if you weren't comfortable in the original LEs, go in and try on a new Psylocke's.
Awesome. Thanks, Shane. Back to you in the studio. Welcome back to the Closeout Bodyboarding Podcast, an audio experience where a few good mates sit around, talk about the things that we love so much. I am one of your hosts, Benny Oborn. Joining me back in the studio for our first ep of 2024 are my two good mates, Chris Watson and Shane Britton. Good to have you back, boys.
Forgot my name for a second there, but it's all right.
I did. I didn't know if I was going to go Shane Watson and Chris Britton.
Let's be honest, though. Benny's come in looking as rough as a cat's asshole. What have you been up to last night, Benny?
Mate, I went to by far the best punk rock concert of my life, which was Blink-182. So the last time I saw them play was, I think, just over 10 years ago up in Brizzy. Obviously, at the time, Travis, the drummer, wasn't travelling abroad. But yeah, so first time for me, I got to see them as a complete set. Incredible, but needless to say, pretty big night. Not much sleep. Took quite the mission to get down here to see you boys this afternoon. But I'm here.
Now, I'm a big fan of Blink-182, like I've always liked them, but I imagine there would have been a few grey hairs in the crowd last night.
Yeah, age demographic was crazy.
Yeah,
definitely not a lot of people in that kind of 20 to 30 bracket. Most of it was 30 and above, for sure.
The Savo, we're luckily here at Chris Watson's house in the Phoenix. The shed that's risen from the ashes.
Most people did a jigsaw during COVID. I rebuilt a shed that had burnt down. So don't recommend doing it by yourself, but no, it's worked out pretty good.
So, yeah, lads, obviously we've had a bit of a break over Chrissy. We all had a bit on work, personal lives. Shano, you want to give us a bit of a rundown? What's been happening?
Oh, mate, I had a shocker. Absolute shocker. All right, what's happened? So 2 weeks before Christmas, our busiest time of the year, my brother Mark did his Achilles.
Now, just before we say that, he shot media with Urban Surf, so he's now been in every ad for Urban Surf as the bodyboarder. Yeah. Then he did his Achilles.
Did his Achilles playing basketball.
It's not safe playing basketball. I'll give you the red.
Not at his age.
No,
he should be in a Zimmer frame, which he actually has to use right now.
Shout out to Mark Britton.
But so he did his Achilles 2 weeks before Chrissy. We had 4 containers arriving. A little bit stressful. And he came in that morning and he had to go do some deliveries and jumped in, my beautiful iLoad that
faithful vehicle.
The workhorse that it's been for 15 years. And that broke down, never to start again. The timing chain went on it. So became a very stressful 2 weeks before Christmas.
Just like to dedicate this episode to the iLoad.
Oh, the iLoad. In memoriam.
Hey, at least it got to robe one last time before it died.
Did. Yeah. So, it was a bit of a shocker. So, not too many good things heading towards the end of the year for me.
Yeah, but you got new wheels.
I did, but
it's not the same.
It hasn't quite set in nicely yet. So
it doesn't have the stories yet.
It doesn't need the blue light run over it.
Oh dear.
How about you, Benny? What have you been up to?
A little bit different to you, I guess. Lots of positives, a few little negatives. Got made redundant from my job.
That's positive.
Well, long term, absolutely. Wasn't given much notice for the redundancy, but I guess, had a pretty good outcome. In saying that, a couple of days later, jumped on a plane, flew over to Poland and met back up with my wife and kids and spent Christmas over there. which was sensational. It was the first white Christmas for myself and for my kids. So to do that, with Anya's family was pretty amazing. Then I shot over to the UK for a week, caught up with a couple of good buddies over the New Year period. What happens in London stays in London.
I think you rang me at like 2:30 in the morning via Skype, and I don't think you remember that conversation.
No, I don't. I don't. Sorry about that. Got in some snowboarding, which was amazing.
You tried to go to the Wave in Bristol, but it was too hard, wasn't it?
Oh, it was just a bit of a logistical nightmare.
Yep.
Like out of London, it'd be 2.5 hour train ride.
I think I looked at it, two and a bit.
Yeah. I just had too many conflicting kind of things to do when I was in London. I had a close friend's surprised 40th birthday on the same day that I could have potentially surfed in Bristol. And it would have meant I would have had to get down to Bristol the night before, find a place to stay, peak holiday season. But then, again, the wave pool's not in town. It's like a half an hour drive or something out of Bristol. So I've got to get out there, crack of dawn, and then somehow make my way back to London for lunch. It just, unfortunately, it wouldn't have panned out. Would have been fun, but it just didn't pan out.
Just one other thing with that pool as well is that it doesn't run the same sort of settings we get.
No.
It runs like their expert is like our advanced turns. It's very nuggety. Like we get a reasonable barrel for expert or that back end of advanced, but I think you got to prove yourself and a few other things before you can even surf that.
Oh, I think I'd managed to get my way past that. I'd obviously had quite a few phone calls and emails with the crew there.
What? So you're going to bribe them?
Essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Cubicle 3.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
I'm Ben O'Born.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Okay.
The other thing bad about that, though, is you were there dead of winter.
Yeah.
And we've surfed the pool here in Melbourne dead of winter, and it's painful.
It's terrifying.
Let alone London dead of winter.
I mean,
I can't even imagine that.
This time last year, the pool froze.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it looks beautiful when they try to fire up again, but
did they ice skate on it instead, or?
Nah, you probably could. I don't know. But mate, got back to Oz late Jan. Currently just enjoying, the Victorian summer. Our daughter started back at kinder, so spending a lot
Victorian of summer for what it's been.
Yeah,
it's going to start now.
It's coming.
Right, it's been a shocker.
Yep.
But
what have you been up to?
I was going to say, when we record the last one, it would have been Robe, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Just
it's been a while.
Yeah, we did the Robe comp, which was epic. Had a ball. Thanks to Japs and the guys for having us over for that. That was probably one of my favourite events for the year, actually. I just had a blast. I reckon a couple of weeks later, I was on a plane to Spain. Went over there for a week or so. Came back home and tried to take 3 weeks off over Christmas. That didn't pan out real well because I ended up going back to work first week and going to Karratha, spend some time on some vessels. Took another week off, and then I haven't surfed much.
You haven't surfed at all. Yeah,
no,
you surfed once or twice.
I haven't even surfed in the pool. Last time I surfed in the pool, I surfed last week, but before that was the Boogie Nights event. But I don't know. Do I even bodyboard anymore? Not sure.
Only in state titles.
I don't even know if I'll get that. So not much bodyboarding. But I've watched a little bit of it.
Yep.
So moving on, a little bit of breaking news. Shano. That was really good. You got to do that every app.
Oh, okay.
Shano, I'm actually going to let you run with this one, mate. Run us through some of the big talking points.
Well, first, we haven't got some good news. There's no way sort of to broach this one. Yesterday, I sent Brad Stone a text during the day, just for a general catch-up. We've been doing some filming and all that sort of stuff, so we're going to chat about that and his board models and that coming out for this year and so forth. So I shot him a text thinking he was in WA back at work because he's just been away
overseas on a little trip that I can't talk about right now. But just been away on that, and 5 minutes later, I get a call from him, and I go, "How's it going, mate?" And he goes, "Not good. I broke my back this morning." So he was surfing supers on the south coast, and we had a good chat about it. He said, the surf was really good. It was, quite, everyone kind of knows about supers. They've seen it on clips and or surfed it themselves, and it is a heavy break, and it's well known for that. He said it wasn't that bad a day. It was quite tame, but he said he sort of just backed off a bit on one, and as he was sort of getting off the wave, sort of went up the lip very casually, and the lip sort of wrapped in on him, and he went down and landed on his coccyx on the reef. Like straight away, him telling me that it wasn't the conversation I was expecting to have with him. Sort of gave me flashbacks of when Damo Martin did the same injury at the same place. So yeah, very stressful situation.
And mate, there's a big list of guys, of great talent that have hurt themselves at supers over the years.
Yep. Had a good chat to him. Had a good chat to Jay Maguire as well. After that, and they said a lot of guys helped Brad in. Marley Dunn, Dane Reese, all those guys helped him in. It didn't go down the same way as what Damo did. Damo got airlifted to Sydney by chopper. They couldn't actually do that. I don't think the chopper was available yesterday. So he's actually out there getting them back of an ambulance, went to Maruya. They haven't really got the facilities down there to take care of that sort of an injury. And when I spoke to him yesterday, he was saying they're looking at getting him up to Canberra.
Right.
So, Dane Reese was with him at the time. He jumped in the ambo with him. And Dane actually did a similar injury last year down at Cobra. And so I think it was kind of good. Yeah, and thanks to Dane for sticking with him because, having someone with you that's gone through the similar injury, is really good.
So obviously going to be a significant kind of healing time process for Brad. So, mate, wish you all the best with your recovery.
And thanks to everyone that was there and gave him a hand in and, got the ambulance involved and everything as well.
All right, so moving on to next talking point for this ep. Watto, let's get stuck into some bodyboarding Vic stuff. So much happening down here.
There's an awful lot happening. Yep.
Obviously, we've got the state titles coming up this weekend down here on the Mornington Peninsula. Round 1. Obviously, we'll run round 2 over in Warrnambool. We've got a second bodyboard club that's just started up across in Warrnambool as well. Plenty of boogie night session, mate. Give us a bit of a breakdown.
Yeah, it's sizing up to be a pretty decent year for bodyboarding in the state of Victoria. So we've got the first state round this weekend, Mornington Peninsula. Got good level of entries, quite a few old faces, new faces, all the rest of it, which will be really good to see. The forecast actually looks okay for once, well, not like last year where we were sitting there and we thought a swell wouldn't turn up and we woke up to the morning and it was 8 to 12 foot. But no, it should be good. What else have we got going on? We've got, Warrnambool, West Coast Bodyboard Club have started back up again. Good to see them pushing it down there. Really, really good to see that the growth of the sport, and good job to Kylie and Luke. Boogie Nights has become a new institution for bodyboarding Vic at Urban Surf. It's going to be every month, apart from the month where they shut the pool down, which will be, I believe it'll be July or August this year. They're going to shut the pool and do their normal maintenance, but every other month, and that's it's been full every month. So get down there. There's a few.
You've opened it up to non-members.
Yep.
As well.
So
Yep.
any bodyboarders in the state of Vic, or even if you're external to Vic. So I think a few of the South Oz guys, we've had Queenslanders, we've had everyone come into it. So it's open to anyone. We just we support it.
We're an inclusive organisation down here in Victoria.
That's
inclusive.
Right. That's right. So there's a few other events in the works. I can't talk too much about it yet, but there will be possibly an event end of August with a bit of a mashup with some of the bigger names in bodyboarding in the pool, which will be pretty exciting. New format.
He's talking about us, isn't he, Shane?
I don't think he is.
No, I doubt it.
Shane Britton to the stars, you know.
Well, you could probably take Mark's place.
No, I'm good.
So yeah, a couple of really cool collaborations we've got in the works. But yeah, a lot going on at the moment.
What about Tradie Challenge? How's that looking for an event this year?
Yeah, Tradie
Cool.
Challenge again, supported by WorkSafe, Milwaukee, Rusty, and all the rest of them. That'll be October.
What was the outcome from that incident report of a flying umbrella?
Oh, must look that up. But that'll be going ahead, and yeah, a few other things in the works, just trying to get ticked off at the moment. So
With your contacts at Urban, you were saying Sydney's not too far away.
Sydney will be opening in April.
The winner is...
Sydney.
And hot off the press, I believe they quite possibly will be rolling out Boogie Nights up there too.
Ah, that's
All right.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, yep, no, there's a bit going on in that space. And the one other thing that I found out this week is that next year will be 40 years since the first bodyboard club was started in Victoria. So Bodyboarding Vic, which goes back to Mornington Peninsula Bodyboard Club. Before that was East Coast Bodyboard Club. 1985 was the first meeting for the first bodyboard club. So might have to do something special next year.
Sounds good.
I'm in. Next kind of thing I want to talk about is probably one of the most viewed, shared, talked about little kind of Insta bodyboarding clip floating around on the web, which is Louis 720
Oh yeah, yeah,
up at Mandurah.
That was sick.
yeah. It was.
How do you even break this down and analyze it?
It was epic at that end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Moving on.
so smooth.
The pop he got out of it.
Okay, let's talk about Louis first, right?
Yep.
What a human.
Yep.
Like,
Hey, he's beyond human, mate.
yeah, he's like, it's like Gumby. Like, he's so flexible.
Yeah, I was going to say
But
the
at the
rubber
same,
man.
yeah, but
Jeez.
at the same time, his core strength, and like, you look at the size of his shoulders now, and his chest, like, he's strong and he's big. Add to that, obviously, Mandurah, which he spent a lot of time surfing and essentially just perfecting what he does out there. But that one move, I love talking about progressive bodyboarding. And especially in a comp scene, you see a lot more progressive bodyboarding, I think, in free surfing.
Yep.
I think from a competitive standpoint, there is still a lot of safe maneuvers going down.
100% there is.
You know,
Yep.
classic spin to roll combo.
Yep.
Everyone wants to, get that box ticked. This, again, to be progressive, this is the stuff that needs to be happening on a more frequent basis. Like, people need to be pushing themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
Because, again, in order for a sport to grow, it needs to be progressive.
I think after watching that clip, many times, the fantastic thing about it is obviously the progression of trying to complete the move.
Yep.
But the wild card of that is the wave.
Of course.
Like if you watch that wave, the way I'm not saying that wave in general, I'm saying the way that he did the maneuver on.
Yes.
When you look at that particular wave, it's funny what it brought to my mind was something I was taught when I was playing basketball when I was younger. And it was always when you're shooting, how you flick your fingers to make the ball spin.
Right.
Yep.
And that's what it reminds me of when you watch Louis get that wave. Is that wave sort of looks like it flicks him, and that gives him the rotation, and it was just weird that that's what it brought to my mind when I watched it.
But I mean, he's not the first to essentially, have a crack at doing the 720.
No, and I think just quickly back to the Mandra thing, we've seen a lot of really good clips over the last 2-3 years, like Jakey Metcalf,
Josh
Tom
Garner.
Morris.
It's Josh Garner, isn't it?
Yep.
Josh Garner.
Yeah,
He surfs that place well. Obviously, the rest of the trilogy there as well.
yeah. Ebony
Davis.
Shield, ARS out there, that was good as well. Well, it was really good to see. But seeing all that sort of stuff, I actually love watching that wave.
Yeah.
It's really cool. But you're right, Benny. There's been we've seen multiple different sort of attempts over the years. We've seen Clint Kennewells. He posted that again recently.
Yeah. When was that from? That's like 2015 or something?
11, I think.
11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hub. You see that wave of hubs?
Yeah, when you look at Hub's one as a comparison to Louis, the height that Hub gets, and that's what allows him to get the rotation.
Yeah.
Where Louis is that flick out.
You watch when you watch guys do like air reverses, like I watch Cramsey in the pool, or you watch how Cramsey does it, and he sort of almost like pops himself up out of the water, like to try and get that rotation. I've been watching a lot of clips on people doing reverses lately. I think it's a reverse in the right spot's a very critical move. Like, I think it's a really good looking move, and we haven't got to the point where you see like reverses in like stand up, or you've got like a standard reverse or a full rope. We've still got that how do you put it, that nice or that spice about it when you see it, or even that clip of it's not an air reverse, but that clip of Joe Clark doing that carving reverse that was probably shared last day or two.
Yeah.
It was a really nice sort of rotation. But and then you get Hubs, which is, how old is Hub?
Ooh.
Like late 40s?
Yeah.
He's not far off my age, I think.
And he's like, I remember seeing was it Bodyboarding magazine? It come from the US back in the day.
Yep.
And he was trying 720s then. That would have been late 90s, early 2000s, I reckon it was, or 2001. And when I saw that clip of him, the height, like nothing else, that height was ridiculous. How high he got on that wave was just stupid.
So when you're talking about this and progression and all that sort of stuff as well, how do you think that now then relates back to the World Tour and the IBC and all that sort of stuff? Like, how do you feel when you see clips like that and like what you're talking about with Joe and all the free surfing stuff as compared to what you're seeing in the IBC?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I guess some of the heats from 2023 IBC were pretty sensational. There's the infamous, Pierre v. Tanner, which was a semi, I think, wasn't it?
Yep.
Hands down, probably the best heat of the year. But and that's powerful technical surfing in waves of consequence. But I just think the spread there's not enough spread like that repertoire of maneuvers that we're seeing on the World Tour. Like, yes, you got air revs, you got air forwards, you got inverts, you got backies. There are plenty. There's plenty more things that I think athletes can do on bodyboards, but I think there is still a little bit of that fear of giving it a shot.
All I can think of is you got to risk it to get the biscuit, but you've got to, like comp surfing, you go in with strategy.
You got to go
anyway.
for completions and
but it's a very good point.
The old boring build your house.
I still
hate that.
I still get frustrated. Like I personally don't think that the tour is pushing that progression at the moment, because when you look at like Maldives or some of the other events and you see the recaps of IBC at the moment, and there's guys like they've done a flip or an ARS or something, and that was sick. Like that move alone, like I would have given high nines for, and then they do a roll in the whitewash and then they do another spin, and it's like,
It's irrelevant.
And like we've talked about this before, but why ruin it with that? Like I know they're trying to get a few extra points, but
Yeah, because it might get half a.
just do the move. Like
Yeah. What are we hearing about the IBC at the moment, Benny?
I mean, it's back again for 2024.
Is it?
Yep.
They've actually announced it's back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. From what I'm reading.
I thought the silence had been a little bit deafening.
I mean, there is a little bit of silence, but they've released a calendar. They've released their seedings.
there's a lot of TBCs in that calendar.
You gotta let me finish.
Where's TBC? I'm not sure what country that's in.
Well, it's near
They
TBA.
got more.
Absolutely. There's obviously a lot of negative chatter. Yeah. Within the I guess the realms of the internet and the keyboard warriors. But I guess one point I want to get across is yes, it seems like there's a lot of shit. And I swore there, I said it. But they are moving forward. Like they're trying to keep going, and I think I'm trying to take the more positive stance on this. Like,
Benny's got his cup half full.
yeah, that's exactly. Like I want to see it continue. I don't want to see it fail.
No. So so the positive is bodyboarding's got a world tour.
Yep, which is great. The pathway to get there, that's terrible.
I was going to say, let's be honest, it's broken.
It doesn't exist.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, these athletes need a world tour. This is their life.
Yeah.
Well, especially for probably you would say at least a dozen of these athletes. This is their full-time job. They don't do anything else. Like, this is providing an income. This puts roof over their heads. It pays their bills. You know, it pleases their investors and sponsors. Like, without this world tour,
So
they don't have a job.
I'm going to bring up a point here, and I think I sent it to all you guys to watch, but there was the Ian Campbell why I stepped down from the IBC video.
Yes.
And I think quite a number of people watched it by
Can
now.
you just break that down for everyone that's listening that might not have watched that?
So I'm going to be honest, I went into the video with a preconceived idea because I had a pretty good idea why he was stepping down. I just wanted to know what sort of nitty-gritty he got into on it. But he talks about living in the UK and being away from his family. I don't know if the UK was... I think he moved there because of his wife. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'll have to clarify that, but it makes it hard. I guess being near a major airport would be pretty good. But he then talks about the pay and how much it does cost. And I'm going to be honest, when he was talking about the cost...
I'm glad you're being honest.
Yeah, well, I thought his costings were under what I would have said it cost for the same sort of thing.
Was he talking pounds though?
I think he was talking euros, and I did euros or pounds, and I did the conversion. It still wasn't much.
I assume because he was living in the UK, he was talking pounds, which,
Yeah,
when you look at it, that's when he said 8,000, that's triple, I guess, the Australian dollar.
yeah, roughly.
So he said about $8,000, so that's 24.
For the did he say that for the year?
Yeah.
Even that seems low.
But he's living in the UK, so it's closer to those locations.
Touche.
Yeah,
A lot of budget airlines running in and out of.
but you're still travelling with a whole heap of boards and all that.
Valid.
And
yeah.
that's where your budget airlines are going to sting you.
Well, that's where a budget airline's no longer budget.
Yeah.
That's right. But like even Maldives or some of those events, like South America, that's not going to be cheap.
No. Yeah, look, obviously I'm pretty skeptical as to how the World Tour is going to play out on a public platform, obviously, because there is guys like Ian and there's whispers of other guys that aren't going to commit for their own personal reasons.
Is Tanner? Are we hearing? It seems whispers, but I don't know if
yeah,
that's
again, I think at this point in time it's speculation.
Yeah.
I haven't reached out to Tanner. I did see that little kind of split screen video that a couple of those, I think it was Tanner and a couple of the other guys were just having like an open conversation and talking about the whole not getting paid thing
Yeah.
and what that was going to mean for them moving forward. Yeah, obviously, there probably is going to be some type of boycotting, which, unfortunately is going to harm the reputation of the IBC and what they're trying to achieve.
They seem to have lured one star back, though. Bit of an announcement during the week.
Jacob Romero.
Romero.
Oh, amazing.
Wildcard into Morocco.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I want to hear a bit more about Jacob Romero, Shane. I mean, number 6 team rider. You look after distribution for number 6 here in Australia.
We have just taken it on again.
Yep, exciting.
For 2024-25.
Yeah, you've got boards
Boards
now.
have just landed and started hitting stores last week.
Yeehaw.
Which is pretty exciting. And we're doing both the number 6 and the GT Tamega boards. So, pretty exciting to get them back out into Australia again.
Yep, awesome. And correct me if I'm wrong, hopefully maybe sometime throughout the year we might get to catch up with Jacob as a guest on the potty. And maybe GT.
as well.
Just dropping some hints here, listeners.
Possibly Mark Dale, owner of number 6, who's a big player in board production as well. So you might get a few of those guys on and have a chat.
What about your daughter, mate? Have we locked in a schedule for her to come in as that,
Are we going to do the...
I don't think we want the 20 the 360 feedback that she's prepared to give us. That could be...
No, any feedback's good feedback.
We'll bring in my wife as well. She'll probably back Kyle up.
She listened to one yet, or...
I don't know. She said she had, but then I asked her some questions and I didn't really get much out of it.
So going back to the IBC, just quickly, this week was the week that the pipe comp has run for the WSL.
Yep.
Fantastic comp. I don't think it was for it did have its detractors and that as well for certain swells and that apparently.
Yeah, but that's surfing.
It is surfing. It is.
They came good in the end. Look, I think they should have had the girls on that day, and there was a day that was firing, and you would have seen a clip of Italo. It was like Italo's wave the day they cancelled was unbelievable.
Wow.
At pipe.
What was the reason for them not running that day?
I've got no idea.
They didn't give any reason.
Just
They
called
didn't
it.
say it was. They felt it was too big or dangerous, or there was no reason. Just called it a delay day.
Called delay day, as you do.
Yep, it's firing. Let's call it a later.
Maybe they'd booked a round of golf at Turtle Bay or something. Who knows?
Kelly had a booking.
Yeah, Callie had a booking.
Yep.
What do we think of the finals? I know we're a bodyboarding podcast, but it's always good to look at your cousins and see what they're doing right and wrong.
We were talking about progression and wow, women's surfing.
Yeah.
It is the most exciting thing to watch at the moment. You look at Katie Simmers, Pickles, all those crew, like even the semis. The semis were, like for the girls, were unbelievable.
I had a semi watching the semis.
Oh, wow.
I'm talking about the surfing here, gentlemen.
Okay.
Get your minds out of the gutter.
But
Spoken by Benjamin Oborn.
But that was incredible. Like the surfing, the level of surfing and how much it's picked up. And you look at bodyboarding and people that are going to follow the tour or they're not going to follow the tour. Look at what's happened in WSL. Like Philippe's out. A few others are out. Carissa Moore's out.
We just left you hanging there.
Yeah.
We let him hang.
I had a mental blank.
We could remember.
Yeah. I also wonder.
Steph.
Yeah, Steph's out. I also wonder how long it'll be until JJF pulls the shoes.
Oh, not too far away.
Because
Sure.
you see his brother won the Surfer of the Year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you look at JJF and you think, he wants to do the same stuff his brother's doing.
Well,
I think everyone thought he was going to retire last year.
Yeah. If he hadn't have hurt his knees, he would have had a bag of world titles in the can.
Yeah.
So
But seeing him in the final, obviously, as well.
yeah, that
with,
was sick.
Baron Mamiya.
Yeah, and Barron was.
Hawaii v. Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was
That's
great.
what-
The commentary saying that they both went to the school across the road from Pipe, and it was. It's a pretty
Mate, that's
good story, isn't it?
That is textbook
Yeah,
surf contest.
absolutely.
Fairy tale. one thing I want to touch base on in regards to pipe comp, and it's something you're starting to see a lot more at other surfing events as well. I hope it kind of transits into bodyboarding as well, because I think, safety in the water is a big thing, is the use of helmets.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Obviously, pipeline, incredible wave, but, one of the most terrifying waves of consequence, not just on the calendar, but, just in general in the world. Like the reef it's not a standard reef, it's volcanic. It's not just this flat bed of rock.
You've all watched, what it was at Raw 1 and 2 in the 90s and all those old booger flicks where they swim underneath and you can see the whole reef.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think it's really good to see more athletes putting on helmets. I mean, the Gaff is like the OG helmet, one of the most popular ones that you see in surfing and bodyboarding and generally most water sports. But does anyone know the type of helmet like Katie Simmons was wearing? Like,
No, I don't.
It was different.
And I don't want to sound rude saying this.
No,
It kind of
weren't they
looked like,
both wearing the same sort of helmet? Because they both
kind of looked like a bike helmet.
didn't look like a gaff.
Yeah, it's like, I saw a gaff the other day that legit looked like a skate helmet, like your traditional skate helmet.
Yeah, yeah.
And you had your ears exposed. Now, for me personally, having my ears covered, like I've worn helmets in the past when I was younger, but any time that I have my ears covered or I have something like that, I feel like it throws me, like, I don't know.
That's why you've cut out the holes in your latex suit now too, hasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't hear. So, yeah, well.
He doesn't wear latex, it's pure leather.
That was harder to cut out than latex. But there's a number of different designs out there, and you got your DMC ones, the old gladiators that you see everyone rolling at Urban Surf.
Who makes them?
Simba. Yep. So
From The Lion King.
The white line.
Yeah.
smear the thing on
Yeah.
it.
God.
Yeah, a number of different brands out there, but hopefully that evolves as well. And
Are we hearing about many bodyboarders in Hawaii for the season?
Not from an Australian standpoint. Not that I'm aware of, but I mean, happy to be corrected.
I know Tom Morris is there.
Yep.
He's filming for the second half of his film series of filming Yang. But, not having pipe on the
calendar.
No, it's
it's
a
the
bit
jewel
sad.
in the crown.
It is. When you watch that comp,
Yeah.
yeah.
It really should be there.
All right. So,
Having a wave of consequence on left and right.
okay. So let's just talk about this. Pipe's not on the world tour. There's obviously reasons it's not on the world tour. What's the solution here? Yeah, I understand with Hawaii, there's all the...
My understanding with Hawaii, or with pipe, they need to book a permit 3 years in advance.
Yep.
And it requires a Hawaiian to submit the paperwork and put in for the license for that.
Yep.
So it just takes someone to do that now
For the
with
for
the
3 years'
thought
time.
of in 3 years' time. I talked to the guys from Foam Company last year.
Yep.
They came out to Australia for a wave pool event, and we had a chat out there then, and he was explaining to me all that at that point. But but someone needs to have the foresight to go, I'm prepared to book in for the permit now.
Is the
I mean,
permit?
worst case scenario, right? If for some unbeknown reason you can't pull it together, like it's just...
Well, you hand it to someone else that
Exactly,
can.
right?
At least there's a permit there.
This doesn't... To me, this seems just...
It's a formality, but someone's got to have the foresight to do it. I don't know.
There's...
So
I mean, there's enough...
What's at a
Hawaii-
point now that they were riding on the back of the body surfing
Yep.
tour last year? That's obviously fallen the heap because they're not even doing one this year. So I'm not sure what.
I just feel like there's enough invested Hawaiian bodyboarders
There's heaps.
that should essentially kind of put their hand up and say, you know what, I'll sort this out. And whether it runs as an IBC event or whether it runs as a
Standalone. You're going to get more support to that comp than an IBC.
Yeah. tenfold.
Yeah.
Tenfold. Yeah, so
No different to what they're trying to do with Shark Island here. It's the same thing. Like, if you provide it, they will come.
absolutely.
And especially like in an amphitheatre like Pipe.
Yeah.
Like you'd have people beating down your door to enter.
Yeah.
And perfect segue, the Shark Island Challenge.
Sick.
I love it. It's got to be the greatest acronym for an event, right?
It is.
Sick.
40.
Yeah, trademark. Did he trademark it?
Oh, you'd have to have.
I hope so. What are we hearing, lads? I do apologise. I did say I was going to touch base with some of the boys pre-potty to have a chat. Time got away from me. I know I'm unemployed and seem to be busy.
You've been doing jet setting and
Yeah. Living my best life.
Bodyboard King Toby has come on board to sponsor as a major sponsor.
Yep. Yeah,
Fantastic
Tobes.
news. Well done, Tobes. What else are we hearing?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Handpicked have come on board as a sponsor as well. Is that correct?
I don't know. There's
some conflicting things
Well,
out there.
Yeah.
I did see a kind of like a media release.
old mate put out a post saying he had nothing to do. I don't know.
I just
Some weird things. There's been a couple of little rumours going on out there. I got no idea what's going on. It's not for us to confirm or deny
No.
anything.
No, look,
all I can say straight off the bat is this pulls together,
Yeah,
and I hope it's
good for Australia.
I hope it's Shark Island circa 2001.
Yep.
Yep.
Jace Hazel free falling.
Yep.
Bring Jace Hazel back. Does Hazel get a wild card? He should.
You saw it? Who saw a list?
I didn't say a list.
No.
Ooh, not
Oh,
me.
actually, I was speaking to Desi today.
Yep.
He said he'd seen the list,
Ooh.
but I
Is Desi a bit of hush hush? He's
don't think it's for me to.
yeah. You're not it. Yeah.
There's a couple of things I do know for sure.
I do know Liam Lucas.
Yes.
Again, Liam posted something a couple of days ago stating that he's been invited. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
I am aware Jacob Romero has been invited and accepted,
You.
so that's great. So Jacob's going to be all over the comp scene again this year. Fantastic. One Nomad rider was invited, Sam Thomas. Bit of a weird one, this one. So Sam got invited. He and his brother had been planning a trip to Europe for 2 years.
Yep.
Same window as the Shark Island comp. So he knocked back the invite. It was sad to do so, but
With deep regret.
deep regret, absolutely. Then he found out yesterday that his brother's been invited, Cohen, who was going on the trip with him to Europe. And
No.
Cohen
Don't say.
accepted.
Did he?
So there's a little bit of like, what's going on between the brothers? We're not sure if Cohen was offered Sam's spot or there's a little bit going on between the brothers and they're...
Awkward.
Yeah. Well, Sammy's only just got back as well because AFL Grand Final Day last year,
Bit of weird injury.
had a couple of beers, jumped up on the tin roof of the shed, went through it and broke his wrist.
Oh, for the
So
boys.
he's just got back. Everyone would have seen the last swell at Chipstones.
Chippies.
He's
Yep.
been back all over it.
There are clips from both of the boys, though, on that
Yes.
swell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to watch.
So they're all back riding, and Sam thought, I'm doing the right thing by my brother. I'm keeping that window
Whoa.
open. We're going off together. And it's somehow lack of communication has caused a little bit of a rift between the two. So
I tell you what, boys, Christmas this year
Oh, yeah.
at the Thomas household.
Might be a bit awkward.
Yep. So Sammy was doing everything, bit of a ring around saying, is that spot still available? And I'm not sure the actual outcome is yet. So
Wow.
we'll find out later down the track, I guess.
So just quickly on that, I'm just having a cruise on the Shark Island thing.
While you're doing that, I do know that there is a couple of wildcard spots.
That's what I was going to say. Online trials are now live.
Yeah, so
Right.
I did hear Elliot and Luke talk about this on the Riffy podcast
Yep.
last week I think it might have come out a bit before that, but I was a bit late catching up. But yeah, digital, online, obviously is an opening period. I think the clips you can use dates back to something like 2021. So you can use footage from 2021 up until now for your digital entry.
Yep.
Well, Sammy Thomas, there's your entry, mate.
Yeah, get on that. So essentially, Chriso, you're in with a chance.
I've got to learn how to bodyboard first.
You can submit all those, all the pool clips.
I haven't had one of them for a while.
2021, mate. You got
you
got a fair bit.
There might be one in there somewhere, but no, that's a good thing. And I did notice as well they must be working in conjunction with Surfing New South Wales because they're
amazing,
tagged in it, which is great. Yep.
I'm pretty sure I did see that it's at this stage 20K Aussie prize pool.
Okay.
Not sure what the breakdown is, but that's amazing. Essentially, we've talked about this with our game plans for the ABL. Like that's your bare minimum.
Yep.
I don't know if they're going to kind of go down that winner takes all pathway again, or maybe first to fourth, whatever it is. But I'm sure as it gets closer to the event date, we'll probably find out a little bit more info about that.
What's the waiting period for it? Is it 6 weeks?
Yeah, but
May, June?
May 24th, I think.
End of May to end of June.
Yep.
But then flexibility to, I think, add one more week. So first week of July.
I take my hat off to them for filling out the permits for that after what we go through to get permits to run events.
But look, again, in hindsight, and look, it's the same with the ABL, and I haven't even spoken about the ABL yet. The IBC, we're going to hear rumours about everything, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was chatting.
I'm finding that most of the rumours are true, but it doesn't necessarily need to be discussed.
Yep.
In an open forum like us, we're trying to be positive about bodyboarding at the moment. It's certainly our goal with this podcast to be positive. So we're hearing rumours, but we won't repeat them here.
No, we're hooting for things to get better.
That's right.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to
things to get better. We've got to have things.
That's right.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to the Rush VHS Shark Island Challenge coming out.
That'd be great.
Came out back in the day. I'm pretty sure everyone's watched that one a stack of times. I think that was early 2000s.
Well, speaking to Des, because Des has got good connections up there, he's telling me that there is guys that have got a really good background in telecast and all that, all set in place for it.
Brilliant. So from a production and broadcast perspective, it's going to be...
It should be good.
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. So
ripper.
That day the live stream happens and there'll be no work done by any boarders in...
Probably not.
Yeah.
Well, if it's pumping...
And I don't know if it is being live streamed. It'd be great if it was.
What's Bob Hawke's famous saying about the...
if you get fired for not going to work tomorrow, you're a pack of arseholes or something.
Something along those lines.
It's un-Australian.
It's un-Australian.
Yep.
Yeah, realistically, Shark Island at its best, in comparison to Pipeline, they probably almost throw a Rika in.
Mate, you want them all.
Well, that is...
You want them all. That's what we want.
That's what we want. On the world stage, that's what we want.
Yeah. And do you know what else we want? I want Chopu back.
The apple. You've really got to work on your pronunciation on this podcast, Chris.
Turn it up, buddy.
Hey,
one last thing, Ben, since you mentioned it.
The ABL.
ABL.
Yes, I do have some stuff to talk about with the ABL. I had every intentions of kind of getting things up and running this year in 2024. A few little kind of roadblocks along the way. I don't need to go into the details, but I guess probably the biggest fear I had was being a little bit too late to the party, especially when everyone else within the bodyboarding community already had their event calendars locked in place.
Yep.
The last thing I want to do with running an Aussie tour is, conflict with someone else's event. And at the same time, I want to make sure anything that, I produce for the ABL, I meet a certain standard where I felt like I was a little bit behind in doing that. In saying that, we've still got really good support down here in Vico, so I'm back to the drawing board to, essentially just postpone that to almost the same time next year, still March. So that's the vision, to kick back off the Aussie.
And let's be honest, you got some sponsorship.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you want to mention who that is?
You can.
No, you can. It's your event.
No. Look, I don't think I need to go down that pathway just yet. I'd prefer to kind of wait till everything's in concrete. All I can say is down here we've got some great support.
Yep.
I actually can't wait to, once we've kind of finalised the business model, how it's all gonna pan out. When we release that'll be, a really exciting moment for me. In saying that, I feel like there's a lot more conversations I need to have with the bodyboarding community back at grassroots. I really want to make sure that, this Aussie Tour reboot just isn't a bunch of events that really isn't building that pathway. Like I've said it before, like we have to create that pathway. And Chris, we've had all these conversations about moving forward to eventually getting back into the ISA games. Like without that pathway at grassroots leading up through an Australian domestic tour, we can't get into that kind of ISA games, vision. And again, through that, I think by having bodyboarding at the ISA games is only going to help boost, I guess.
I was going to say elevate the sport.
Yeah, but not. I think that'll also help the World Tour.
Yeah, I think so too. Yep.
I know we're all positive here, but one of the biggest things that I think is just kind of letting down this whole overall structure and the pathways. And don't get me wrong, there are some amazing people doing some amazing things, right? We're all doing what we love. We're all, and all these people are putting on events. I think some of the conversations in the sport, they're not the right conversations. I think, I think sometimes.
In what way? What do you mean?
Oh, I think sometimes egos get in the way. I'd ideally love to see essentially a board of directors formed or something, at the top level that really has affiliates in every country. So, you've got a spokesperson in every country or region per se that acts on behalf of that country and go back and forth to the World Tour or the IBC in this case and say, hey, okay, what do we need to do? Like, because currently none of that exists.
Yep.
Like,
for example, we need a permit to run a pipe. Let's
right.
Us as a body book that. Yeah, then whoever can run it at the time will run it. If we're not the same board that we are then, at least someone will have the permit available.
We've got a business plan.
Yep.
But then also, for the top tier, so the IBC, letting domestic and grassroots bodyboarding know what they need to do to put themselves into position or to put themselves into contention to get to the World Tour. Like, I just don't. It's not streamlined at the moment, and we've got to fix that.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I mean, again, look here in Australia, I think our grassroots clubs are amazing.
Oh yeah, everyone's running clubs really well.
Yep.
Yep.
And we have bloody incredible support from Surfing Australia and their state counterparts. Maybe some
more than others.
Some better than others.
We've got some spaces to work on, and I hope we can help some of the other states work with some of their relationships in that space. But you're right.
I don't know enough about how they run the IBC. I don't think anybody does because it seems very secret squirrel.
That's probably something for next podcast.
This is like, how long's a piece of string, right? How long do we talk about this? For the World Tour, I think there needs to be opportunities for, continents, countries to host World Tour events in a better way. And we spoke about that before, right? I mean, we've all crunched numbers on what it takes to run a high-level event. And for us, those numbers don't align with the numbers outlined from the IBC to do so.
No, they definitely don't.
Like, I get it at the end of the day, they're a business. They probably want to end up with some type of money in the back pocket at the end of the year. But let's be honest, the best people to run an event in Australia are Australians. I don't know, charge us a...
Well, anyone, every event, the best person to run that competition is locals.
Absolutely.
A group of locals.
Yep.
Because they're on the ground.
Yep. They know the people. They know the place. They know everything about it.
And look, I'm going to be...
He's going to be honest again, Shane.
I'm going to be pretty frank on what I thought about...
Who's Frank?
There's some things my own personal values don't align with what IBC does as well and how they conduct things. And probably, a massive red flag for me was the fact that it's perfectly acceptable to not have equal prize money when you're running women and men's in the same event. That doesn't fly. I don't agree with that, and that doesn't fly in Australia. And there's other things like that I don't think is what we would align with. And I think that from conversations, the costs that to hold an IBC event and compared to what I know other events cost, I've got a pretty good idea of what other events external to bodyboarding cost. It was extremely excessive.
Yeah. Well, we might look at that at a later date. Going back to positive.
Amen, brother.
What do we got?
Is your cup not half full anymore?
The can's empty, mate. I'm ready for another.
Oh, yeah.
Dan's looking pretty flat over there, actually.
I feel like I'm getting second
I was
wind.
going to say, he's coming alive at 5.
I'm pepped up.
Another beer, he'll be sweet.
Off to the Portsea pub we go, boys. No, I always finish on a positive with this potty. I'll go last. Give me something positive in your mind with bodyboarding at the moment. I've got heaps, actually.
Oh, jeez.
Well, you go first.
No, I want to go last.
Okay. Probably one positive for me, and it's a personal thing. It's not to do with bodyboarding as a whole, but I've been able to get my son in the water and get more familiar with bodyboarding and even get him in a program to assist him.
Do you want to give us some feedback on your son? Some background, sorry.
So my son is 6 years old, almost 7, and he's diagnosed with autism. And
surfs better than his dad.
Yeah, 100%.
There you go.
Yep. But we've been able to get the right. There's a great program that's being run down here on the peninsula where they take kids and with the right support put them in the water, and it's been epic. That's a massive highlight for me to see him be comfortable. I think last boogie nights I took him into the pool and we have mixed results with taking him surfing. Some days he'll be amazing, other days there'll be something small that triggers him that he'll have a meltdown. And apologies to anyone that was at the last boogie nights when they would have heard me carrying him back out and when we were surfing playing the bays at the pool, and he was screaming at me, put me down, and I'm waiting for someone to
screaming because he wanted to paddle back out the back, or
no, he wanted to go in. Oh. He's like, I want mummy now, and I'm like, mummy's not here. So, look, there's some absolutely great companies out there doing amazing programs like that, and to see how excited Noah gets and how much it's enjoyable. The one other thing for me, and this is once again a really just personal thing, is that I get to spend an hour each week talking to other people that are in the same shoes as we are.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
It's odd because you're currently not wearing shoes.
No, that's right. That's right. But it's when you go through this sort of journey, there's no support for the parents, and you sort of wonder if you're doing a good job, and you talk to other people and you're like, wow, we're doing all right. So no, that's my highlight. So yeah, over to you.
Positive for me.
There's something you didn't mention in the early part of the ep, mate, in terms of what's been going on, which I think's a pretty big highlight.
For myself. I got my surf goal for 2023. I hit my. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
The goal was 150 surfs.
And how'd you go?
Surfed 151.
Yeah, big round of applause.
Raising my arms over my head.
Do you have a clap button on that?
I think I just can't remember what it is.
We'll get some weird noise.
Yeah.
So that was great. I've got to be honest.
How many of those surfs were quality?
The last 10 surfs were the worst.
You were stretching
that was struggling. The surf between sort of the 21st of December and New Year's was absolutely horrible. I don't think you weren't surfing at all. I don't think you surfed that whole period.
No.
I was just pushing myself in. I'm just going, look, get out there, go surf for an hour, surfing on shore shit. And I was just like, but you're so close. You're so close.
It's like a fart. If you've got to force it, it's going to be shit.
Well, it wasn't. Yeah. So let's be honest. So I'm stoked I got it, but the last 10 surfs really took the shine off it.
So I'm just going to ask the question. The year before, I surfed 200 and something times.
Yep. And I surfed 142, so I didn't make it because I got my ear drilled.
Which was ridiculous. But anyway, I still remember you and I. One day, the rules were set in stone, right? The rules were 30 minutes and 5 waves. You had to tick both boxes in order for it to be deemed as a surf, except for heats.
I thought it was 6 waves.
Oh, well, you're going for 6. I went for 5.
Oh.
Anyway.
Well, I'm going to go back to your record and just cross a few out then.
we paddled out at Portsea one day. It was London Bridge one day. I don't know in our right mind what we were thinking.
But it was like the 2nd of Jan. It was like very early on in the piece. It was like first week of the year.
You were keen.
It was hot. It was like 30 degrees in the morning.
Yeah, it would have been like 7:30. It was 30 degrees.
Yeah. We're getting in no matter what. But it was.
I think I stomached 5 waves.
It was 1 foot
rider fish
hitting the beach
when you could stand up and.
Did you see it? Do you see it? Does it count?
Yeah.
It was pretty average. We've got shout out to Dean Alford. It just takes the piss out of us for that session. Yeah,
I was going to say shout out to Dean Alford, who I think there's some fiction in his numbers someday.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, actually, he's done pretty well lately. Mark Britton, on the other hand.
Mark Britton, not so many.
Yeah.
The other positive I want to bring up, because it's a big one for this weekend for us, getting the state titles off the ground. We did the AGM back in November.
Yep.
So it's been probably 6 or 7 committee meetings since then. Getting the first round off the ground this weekend. It's feels like a fair bit of work for the entire Bodyboarding Vic committee to get it to this place. And we're in a real positive and strong position, and it's going to be great to get the first comp out of the way.
Absolutely. Shout out to the committee. You know who you all are. You all do an amazing job. So,
yep.
Over to me. Well, I'm going to second what Shane said. I am absolutely over the moon and can't wait for...
About my 150 surfs.
Absolutely. That was it. That's exactly what I was going to say. No, about state titles. And again, just the work and the energy that our committee's put into getting this to happen. At the end of the day, hopefully we get waves, because that's why we're doing it. So I'm really looking forward to catching up with all our members and especially the committee, because I guess the last couple of months, a lot of that has just been in a digital format, Teams meetings every second Sunday. So big shout out to the guys that have been absolutely grinding, especially to Adam, the Juckers, you, Chris, Shane, yes, it's kind of work in a degree, but, it's also just a bunch of close friends doing some pretty amazing stuff. And I think that reward will just, be the icing on the cake this weekend. I'm looking forward to having a bit of freedom obviously non-competing. I'm not on the judging panel, so
You're not gonna compete.
No, mate. I'm.
We should. You need to fix that. You need to go on one heat.
I'll tell you who else who hasn't put their entry form in yet.
Steve Watson.
No. Well, he's
injured.
He's injured.
Yeah.
No, who?
He's eligible for over 65s this year. Make his own division.
Wow.
Why? Who else?
I haven't put my entry in yet.
Yeah, but you compete. No, mate. I'm really keen on making coffees, manning the barbecue, and just
You've
being
lost the plot.
being a team player.
He's going to be the rod master. He's going to turn the sausages.
The Rod Mar. That's a new nickname.
You know what?
That nickname's going to stick.
You know what? I've been called worse.
Little Woody.
Yeah, I like that one better. I am pretty stoked with what's going on down in Warrnambool. And I wish, like with the West Coast crew.
Yep.
I mean, it's just growth. And they're doing it because they love it as well. So
Well, it's kind of like we were talking about before. People in their regions need to run it.
yep,
Warrnambool's a long way
Yep.
from Melbourne.
Yep.
So it's good that they're grabbing the ball and they're going to get some people from the Western District involved. And
I've even heard some memes of some South Australians crossing the border.
for West Coast.
Yep.
Yeah, sick. I know Ross Stewart's just moved back down to Warrnambool.
Mike's brother.
Yeah. Yes. Wow, caught me off guard there. Took me a minute.
Talking him a bit.
Obviously an absolute OG hellman from that part of the coast, and he's pretty keen to get his hands dirty to help build that club up with Lukey and Kyle's. But I tell you what, I'm really excited about getting this jet ski out in the water a little bit more this year, boys.
So we'll talk about that next step.
Yep.
Because it's sitting right behind us right
It
now,
is.
and she looks mint, lads. She looks mint. She's had a few runs. She's purring like a kitten.
I washed it, and then we got the wind come
What
over.
could go wrong?
Could go wrong?
I've seen Benny drive a ski. I don't know how worried I should be.
I'm not that bad. It's been a while.
It's like riding a bike. You can't forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't flip it, so.
No, that's true.
But again, also really excited to see the Shark Island Challenge. Hopefully pull through. I'm rooting for them. Just looking forward to seeing some good stuff go down. I think that's about it. I mean, obviously, we've already got a bunch of EPs up our sleeve, ready to drop over the next few months. With some obviously big secrets as well.
Yep. We've got a lot coming out for the year. We've got plenty of people being talking to. We've got some good ones already in the can.
Yeah.
We've got. What I like is we've interviewed a couple of people that normally wouldn't get the airspace.
No, that's
get them to tell their story.
Yeah, that's going to be the good thing. It's people that a lot of people won't have heard of, the sort of unsung heroes, and
And there's plenty of them.
yes,
Yep. Well, the three of us, that's why we decided to do our own podcast.
Well,
no one was going to interview us, so we might as well interview ourselves.
from what I heard the other day, Shane carries this podcast.
Yeah.
Who said that? Me?
You said that.
Oh, okay, yep. Sorry, yep.
So again, big shout out to everyone that's listening to the potty. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Follow our socials because plenty of extra clips and all that sort of stuff that sort of match in with what we've discussed.
Yep.
Links and all that sort of stuff. So jump on Facebook and Insta.
And we might look at doing a bit of merch later on the year.
Oh, merch.
Yeah.
Sounds
We're that
good.
big yet?
We're huge.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah. Huge.
Huge.
All right. So once again, big shout out to everyone that does all the work behind the scenes. Sammy Watson, Michael Jennings, the rest of the creative
Mark
team.
Britton.
MB, yep.
Rob
Mark
Porteous.
Yep, absolutely.
So limps a lot. We call Mark Britton now.
Yep.
And stay tuned. Got some eps dropping real soon. See you guys next time. Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers.